Hello everyone, this is City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am participating in a YouTube hop for Danni Visser. Danni Visser is a scrapbooker who has a YouTube channel that has reached 4,000 subscribers. So we are all celebrating today, and I'm going to be doing a scrap lift of one of Danni's beautiful layouts. There were so many really beautiful layouts. There was another one with a rainbow that I was thinking of doing, but then I saw this layout and I thought this would be perfect for some of the collections that I have and some of the pictures that I wanted to get scrapbooked. And I just love the way that this layout is so bright and cheery and uses so many beautiful colors. I'm following along very closely with the layout that Danni made. The biggest difference is that I have flipped her layout upside down. I was thinking of putting a sun in my layout, and I was thinking that that little cluster on the bottom right would be nice on the top left. So you could see on my phone I just flipped it around, but other than that I followed her layout very, very closely. I'm using different colors in the background. I am using some mustard seed, that's the yellow, and some peacock feathers for the blue, and I'm also going to be adding some mowed lawn, and these are all Distress Oxide pads. And you can see here that I'm just using a dauber, and I'm using a stencil. That's a VIcki Boutin stencil. I got that in one of my creative scrapbook kits, and I am just adding a little bit of green to a few different areas on the background. And you could see that earlier on I drew some pencil marks to try to get an idea of where my photos would be. And I also included that white card. I'm going to be using a cut apart card for that, but I didn't look through the cut aparts yet, so I had a little piece of paper and thought I'll just use that to hold its place for now. And I thought I needed to add a little bit more yellow to the bottom. In the end, I do end up covering up some more of this background color than I wanted to, so I do go back in a couple of times and add a little bit more color. So for now, I am just going to be adding some splatters, and I'm just adding them in the same colors. So I just put a little bit of the ink down on my table, and I'm using a small brush, and I sprayed some water on the color, and I'm just putting some splatters around the page. And the splatters are very tiny, so they just add a little something, but they don't make a huge difference in the appearance of the layout. Whenever I'm doing mixed media, I just feel this urge to add splatters to everything. So this layout was no different, but you could see here that they're rather subtle. And I'm trying to add the splatters to the areas that have the same color on them. And of course, splatters kind of scatter everywhere, but I was thinking that as I was adding the splatters. Now I'm positioning the photos back on top of those areas of color. I'm attaching the two photos together and then attaching that whole unit down. I decided at this point that I wasn't going to use any foam or add any dimension to the page. I was just going to make a flat scrapbook page, which is very unusual for me, but I just wanted to switch things up a little bit. The collection that I'm using here is the Simple Stories Hello Summer collection. It's an older collection, and it's one of my favorites. And if you're familiar with Simple Stories, you know that they have lots of cut-aparts in their collections. So this is a cut-apart from the 3x4 inch cut-apart sheet. And I loved the title because tides are a very big part of this beach that we go to. The card says, "High tides and good vibes." And this is a beach where when the tide is low, it goes way out for, I would say, at least a mile, and then when the tide is high, it looks like every other beach, and you can do the regular things you do at a beach like swimming, but you certainly can't swim when the tide is low. You could see here in the picture on the right how there's no water, the tide went way out, and it's cool because you can walk out and see all the little creatures and shells and things like that. So I thought this was a perfect title for this layout. And you can see here that I am adding some embellishments to the layout. I have a couple of chipboard pieces on there and also a number of die cuts. I added the sun to the upper left-hand corner as I had planned to do, and I feel like whenever I have a summer collection and there is a piece of chipboard or a die cut that has a sun in it, it's one of the first things that I use. I just love this sun, and it has a little cloud on it. And I was also thinking that I would embellish it further. I put some flowers around it. Kind of an odd combination, but I liked it, so I went with it. And I'm adding some other die cuts. I'm trying them out around the layout. I have some leaves, some flowers. There is a pineapple that says Hello Summer on top of the title. And I find that a lot of times with these summer layouts, I am adding a lot of tropical themed embellishments, and it's definitely not tropical in Cape Cod, but I just like the way that it gives that summer feel, even if I'm not exactly on a tropical island. I'm adding some photo corners to the layout. I use an EK Success photo corner punch, and I'm using that beautiful rainbow piece of paper that you can see on the screen right now, and I'm just punching out 2 of each color and putting 1 of each color on each of the photos. And I am kind of switching up the position of the colors. You can see that I have, for example, the green on opposite corners in the 2 photos, and the same thing with that coral color and all the colors. And I'm using some ATG adhesive to keep those photo corners attached down to the photos. So now I have everything where I want it for the most part, so I am attaching everything down to the page. And I'm again just using some ATG adhesive. I don't include footage of the whole gluing process, but I did make a switch up at the top there. I removed 1 of those tropical leaves and just put 1 off to the left of the pineapple. I'm attaching down some of those little tiny flowers. I like the little touch that that adds. And now I'm thinking that the blue on the background just isn't dark enough, so I added a little bit more, and I add a little bit more later on too. I decided to do the same thing to the yellow, and I made sure to clean my stencil really well because otherwise the yellow could end up green if it mixed together with the blue. So I'm just going in and just trying to build up that color a little bit. The yellow isn't quite as noticeable as I would like it to be, but I still like the color combination, so I just leave it alone. Now I'm going in with some enamel dots, and I am using an enamel dot in the same color as the photo corner, and I'm using the smallest enamel dots that I have. And I slightly reposition that die cut so that you can see that enamel dot. And I didn't like the blue that I had picked out. It really didn't match, so I went back into my box of blue enamel dots and I pulled out one that matches a little bit better. And then I was thinking that I wanted to add a little touch. I recently scrap lifted a layout from Rebecca Lockhart, and I put some sequins in the background. And I don't usually put sequins in the background, but that scrap lift got me in the mood to add a few sequins. I like the way they add a little bit of texture and sparkle. They don't add too much dimension, and I'm not introducing a new color, so I don't have to worry about confusing the eye by adding the sequins. So I add a number of white sequins around the page, and I'm just using a little bit of gel glue to attach them. There was a yellow flower that I neglected to put back with the rest of the die cuts, and I decided to put that on the layout, but I switched it with a blue flower that was underneath the photo on the left. Now I'm going to mount my entire layout on this beautiful rainbow paper. Before I attach my layout to this gutted background piece of paper, I attach it to an old paper that I knew I wasn't going to use, and I just find that that makes it a little bit easier to position everything together when a gutted piece of paper is attached down to a full sheet of paper. I use a black marker to write the date, and I'm just writing on this little tag that's over the photo. And that completes this layout. Here are some close-ups. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Congratulations to Danni Visser for having 4,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. I hope that everybody enjoys checking out all the other ladies who are following along with this hop. Their links are in the description box. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate each and every view, like, and comment. I hope that everybody has a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.